What up nerds, I'm Jay Sharif here with another tech review. Last week I made a video about vlogging microphones, and here's what we learned. The cheap mics work just as well as the expensive ones. However, those were all wired microphones, so if you want to be heard, you have to stay close to your camera. Today I'm going to be testing some wireless mics, and because they're wireless you have a lot more freedom to move around. So we're going to find out which wireless system is best for vlogging. These are the three mics I'll be testing today. I wanted to limit myself to a maximum budget of £150 or $150, and as it happens I'll be reviewing a £50 system, a £100 system and a £150 system. First we have this ultra cheap setup from a company called Kimafun. Secondly we have a mid-price option from a company called Moman. And finally, we have the top-of-the-range RØDE Wireless Go. Now, I appreciate that RØDE have launched recently a dual microphone system called Wireless Go 2, but I won't be considering that one because for vlogging, you only need a one microphone system. Also, the Wireless Go 2 bundle costs well above my £150 limit. By the way, you've probably noticed that this Moman system does look a lot like the RØDE version. I don't think that's coincidence. I think quite a few companies have copied the RØDE Wireless Go concept. And all of these copycats are priced about the same as well. So let's take a quick look at each of these wireless mic systems. Firstly, we've got the Kimafun wireless mic system. This comes with a nice carry case. There are two parts, of course, these as you'd expect, and a USB cable that allows you to charge both devices at once. So, firstly, there's a receiver that you plug into your vlogging camera, and then you have a transmitter. Now, the Kimafun transmitter comes with a lavalier mic already attached to it. It's a nice package, but there are some usability issues I can see straight away. Firstly, this oblong receiver is not ideal because this is what it looks like when I connect it to my camera. That's both ugly and bulky, and I'd be worried about accidentally hitting it and damaging the mic port on my camera. Secondly, this lapel mic is already attached to the transmitter. That might seem convenient at first, but what happens if the mic breaks or this wire snaps? Well, basically, you have to throw the whole thing away. Yes, it's very cheap at about £40 to £50, but these two issues worry me. And even without testing it, I can tell you right now that this is not a mic that you can use for walk and talk vlogging outside. Having said that, if you were doing a static piece to camera indoors, putting this on a tripod, then this is a realistic option. But in that situation, I'd probably use a wired microphone anyway. Next, we have the Moman wireless mic system. It also comes with a very nice carry case, and unlike the Kimafun system, it has these two square boxes, which are always a pain to get out of the case. One box is a receiver that easily fits into the cold shoe mount on your camera, and then you connect it to your camera's mic input with a wire. Nice and easy. The second box is the transmitter, and there are two ways to use this. Firstly, you can clip it to your clothes, and the small microphone built into the transmitter will pick up your voice. Alternatively, you can plug a lav mic into the transmitter and then clip the transmitter box to your belt buckle, for example. It does come with a lav mic, but I'm not going to be using that today. I'm testing these wireless systems as standalone units because that's how I'd want to use them while vlogging. By the way, if you search on Amazon, you will find there are lots of very similar products to this Moman system, and I've seen them being sold under various names like Pixel and Photovelt and various others, and they're all priced about the same as well. I suspect they're all identical, and they've just rebadged the same device with different brand names. That's quite a common practice in China, where companies will buy an existing product in bulk and then pay to have their own name put on it. Finally, I've got here the RØDE Wireless Go system. This is the most expensive of the three that I'm testing today. And basically, it's the same as the Moman system, but it's much, much smaller. And it definitely feels like a more premium product. I should also mention the RØDE system uses the more advanced USB-C connector for charging, as does, in fact, the Moman system. Unfortunately, the RØDE doesn't come with a nice carry case, so I went ahead and bought a third-party case for £15 from Amazon. Now, I'm very keen to get out there and test these three in the field. Before we do that, I should mention that all three of these work on the 2.4 gigahertz frequency to transmit the sound from microphone to receiver. However, that's the same frequency as a lot of other devices, including many Wi-Fi routers and Bluetooth headphones. And given that we live in a world with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth everywhere, there's a high possibility of interference. So listen out for that. Now, as part of the test, I'll be attaching these directly to my camera. I will not mess with the audio in any way, so you'll be able to hear for yourself just how good they really are. And as always, the best way to test these is to take them outside. Welcome to Star City in Birmingham. Right now you're listening to me on the RØDE Video Mic Go, and the reason I'm starting with this is so that you have a baseline to compare the other microphones with. And this is me 10 meters away from the camera with the RØDE microphone. 20 meters. Right, now we're on the Kimafun, which is the most unwieldy of the three that we're reviewing. The reason I've come to Star City is because it's reasonably noisy. Also, very importantly, it has a lot of Wi-Fi in the area, a lot of people around using their phones, so it's a great place to check whether interference is going to be a big deal. So this is 10 meters away, and this is 20 meters away. Let's see how far we can go. Oh. Busy place, lots of cars in the way. I'm now about 50 meters away. Can you still hear me? Right, I've now switched to the Moman wireless microphone. This is a bit of a faff, but you know, in terms of usability, still not as bad as the Kimafun. In terms of size, but it is a pain to turn on. I'm not quite sure why that is. Let's see how it sounds at 10 meters. So this is 10 meters away, and hopefully you're not getting any interference, although you can probably hear maybe one or two of these cars that are parking behind me. Right, now at 20 meters away, hopefully you can still hear me just fine. Okay, now we're about 50 meters away from the camera. Hopefully you can still hear me. One of the good reasons for being at Star City also is that we are constantly playing music. So this is a good test. Can you hear the music over my voice? Hopefully not. It's quite music at the moment. But if you can hear me clearly, then the Moman is doing its job. And finally, it's time to test the RØDE Wireless Go, the most expensive of the three that we're testing today. So once again, 10 meters away from the camera. I really like the Wireless Go because it's so compact. It's really beautiful. Also, I've got the white version, which I don't know if it stands out more or less than the black version. I guess it depends on what you're wearing. Now, 20 meters away, hopefully you can't hear those cars with their engines running behind me. Hopefully my voice is clear and the RØDE is doing its job well. Right, so 50 meters away now with the RØDE Wireless Go. Can you hear the drone of the taxis idling nearby? Can you hear the gentle music from the restaurants behind me? Hopefully you can't. Hopefully my voice is still crystal clear. Now, if I walk back while still talking, if there are going to be any points of interference, you should be able to hear the sound cutting in and out. Is it cutting in and out? Hopefully not. But that's the test. I've got to say, I do like the Rode Wireless Go. It's just so compact, so neat. I probably should have got the black version. It's less conspicuous, but this is kind of cool. I may get a black cover for these little modules because I really like this and I intend to keep it as long as this test proves that it works well. So, what did you think? As promised, I didn't do any sound processing whatsoever. That was the audio direct from these microphones. One thing that really impressed me was just how clear my voice sounded using these wireless mics. That was a very busy environment. The camera was next to a bus stop on a main road. There were cars driving around, there were taxis sitting idle with their engines running, and there were people walking around chatting. Now, in my previous mic test video, we came to the conclusion that the cheap mics and the expensive mics weren't very different. In this test, however, it's very obvious that you get what you pay for. The cheap Kimafun system worked just fine when I was 10 meters away from the camera. However, by the time I got to 20 meters distance, the signal was starting to fail. By the time I was 50 meters away, you could really start to hear the audio getting much worse, and at the end, I sounded like a Dalek. With the Moman system, it sounded great at 10 meters, and it sounded good at 20 meters too. But by the time I got to 50 meters away, there was a definite hiss of interference in the audio, and the signal was dropping regularly. However, we had none of those issues when using the Rode Wireless Go. Now, I'm not going to pretend that the signal was perfect. It definitely degraded a little by the time I was 50 meters away, but it was still very usable, and I'm genuinely impressed with how good the Rode has turned out to be. So, in the case of wireless microphone systems, I'm confident in saying that you get what you pay for, and if you can afford it, get yourself the Rode Wireless Go. I wouldn't bother buying the cheap devices like the Kimafun, and the mid-range systems, the Moman, was barely usable at 20 meters distance. The Rode system isn't perfect by any means, and it's annoying they don't include a protective case as standard, but if you really need to use a wireless mic, then the Rode Wireless Go is the best option available. That's all for this episode. I hope you found that useful. There are links in the description if you want to buy any of these devices I've tested today. I'll be back with another video very soon. Later, nerds!